Hi, we are back with Chapter 10, Lesson 3. In your notes, nice and neatly like you have been doing, go ahead and write the chapter title, Lesson 3, Surface Area of a Rectangular Prism. Don't forget, if I go too fast, you can stop it, pause, slow down, rewatch it, whatever you need to do. So this is our rectangular prism. And surface area means we want to find the area of the top, the bottom, the front, the back, the side, and the side. And we are going to end up opening this up into a net, and I'll show you how to see a 3D figure in another way. But let's go ahead and draw our rectangular figure. So again, when we put it together, you can get a better sense of all the parts of our rectangular prism. So I'm going to start with, this will be the front of our rectangular prism. And then to draw the back, I'm going to do a dotted line, because remember, this is what's on the inside and you really can't see it. And this should be congruent. And remember, congruent means they're the same size and shape. So this is the front and this is the back. So you have that visual now. Don't forget, the corners where the sides meet are called vertices. So let's go ahead and make our vertices a point that's really big so that we can see them. They stick out. There's 8 vertices. Then we're going to connect the front and the back starting at the top. So the 2 vertices that are in the upper left-hand corner get connected, and that's going to end up being the edge, like the top edge. And you can see as we're doing this, we're going to start to create a side, and we're going to create a bottom and another side and a top. So we're going to connect these 2 vertices that are in the upper right-hand corner, and now you can see you have a top to our rectangular prism. And then I'm going to connect the bottom right vertices, and you can see now I have a bottom and I have a side, and then I'm going to connect the 2 lower left-hand side vertices, and now I have another side. So to get a visual, we have a top, a bottom, a front, a back, a side, and a side. So that would be our 3D rectangular prism. Okay, I am going to add dimensions. So let's say the length here is 8 centimeters. So if this length is 8 centimeters, know that the length of the bottom here will be exactly the same as the length of the top, okay, because it's a rectangle. So from here to here is 8 centimeters, here to here is 8 centimeters. That means this would be 8 centimeters as well, okay? And then this bottom side would also be 8 centimeters. So I'd like you to start thinking about this measurement and where else this measurement applies to. There's congruent edges. This one, this one, this one, and this one. Because we may need to find some missing measurements. Okay, the bottom here, so for this side here, the bottom is 6 centimeters. Now I said it's the side, but that also is the side, or the width. If this is the length, this is the width of the bottom. Okay, so you can see that this measurement goes to the width of the bottom, but it's also the length of the side here of this 3D figure. So this segment or side and this segment or side are the same exact measurements. That also means if this is 6 centimeters, up here is 6 centimeters. If this is 6 centimeters, the one that's parallel is also congruent, and that would be 6 centimeters too. So again, this measurement goes with a lot of other edges. Okay, and then finally, the height is going to be 7 centimeters. So once again, if this height or the length or the width of this front is 7 centimeters, the opposite side would also be 7 centimeters. Okay, what else would be 7 centimeters? If this is the side of the rectangular prism, this is the other side, these are both 7 centimeters. Okay, once I go back this way, this must be 7 centimeters as well. All right, so how do we find the area? Okay, I'm going to methodically show you how to find 3 pairs of congruent sides. So we want to find 3 pairs of congruent sides. Or I'm going to say congruent faces, because we've been calling these faces. So if I look at the front and the back, we will see that they're congruent. They're exactly the same. So what are the measurements of the front? Or let's start with the front. The front is 8 by 7, right? So the area of just the front of this 3D figure, just the front here, is 8 by 7. So that surface area of that front part is 56 centimeters squared. Well, it has a back too, and the back is exactly the same. So I could do the same thing. I could do that twice. The front and back is 56 centimeters squared. Okay, and I'm going to rewrite this. So we have the front plus the back. So if I add those together, I get 112 centimeters squared. Okay, that's my one pair that are congruent. The second pair of faces that are congruent that I'm going to focus on is the top and the bottom. So if I look up here, here's the top. I don't see any measurements, but the bottom is exactly the same as the top, and I do have measurements. So the length is 8 centimeters, the width is 6 centimeters. So if I find the measurement of the top and the bottom, I get 8 by 6 and 8 by 6. So those two are exactly the same. That gives me 48 centimeters squared for each of those. And then when I put those together, I get 96 centimeters squared. So that's the second pair of congruent faces. I have the front and the back, the top and the bottom, and what's missing now? The side plus the side. So here's a side and here's a side. Now I have to find those matching measurements. So I see the bottom, or I'll call it the length, is 6, but what's the width here? Well, don't forget, this here, this side, is congruent to this side. They're parallel, they're congruent, they're also called corresponding. The corresponding sides are equal. So this is 7 centimeters and this is 6 centimeters. So 7 times 6, that would give me an area of one side that's 42 centimeters squared. The next side would be exactly the same, 42 centimeters squared. And when I add those together, I'll put my sum over here. I get 84 centimeters squared. So I have this pair, front and back, the sum. This pair, top and bottom, the sum of their areas, and then the sides. Now what I have to do is I have to put those measurements together. So I'm going to add 112 plus 96 plus 84, and I get 10. The answer, whoops, something's not right. Let me double check this. 10, 12, carry the 1, 9, 10, 8, whoop, yeah, I knew I made a mistake, 19. All right, so all together, the surface area of the complete rectangular prism, top, bottom, front, back, side, is 292 centimeters squared. We're going to stop here. We're going to hang on to these notes, and then I'm going to show you what a net looks like and how we get to our nets. All right, thanks everyone.